This video is made possible by my patrons on Patreon. Hello everyone, my name is Ziamaro and welcome to Battlerite Sage. So, this time next week we'll all be playing the first real season of Battlerite. We have a new champion coming. Oh, and her name will almost certainly be Jamila, by the way. Is it Jamila? Jamila? I don't know. But we also have one of the most requested features on its way, Draft Mode. You'll still queue up with your desired champion, but once the queue pops, you'll be placed into the new pre-game lobby. And you can actually change your picks if you like. As we all know, you can make a lot of comps work. But those of us who can adapt to different situations will be at a slight advantage starting next week. I'm a one trick for the most part, but I knew this day was coming, and I've been quietly learning other champs on the sly. And if you're a one trick like me, I would definitely recommend expanding your champion pool. So today, I'm going to go through some of the best champions to learn for Season 1. Much like finding your main, the best advice for finding more champions to play is to just try stuff out and see what seems to click for you. But if you're the sort of person who can get on pretty well with any champion, I envy you. But you're probably asking, which champions are actually worth learning? So let's go through some of the most useful champions to learn. Let's start with melee champions. If you're mainly playing solo queue, then you should be looking for a champion who can work with a variety of comps. And when it comes to melee, I can't really recommend anyone more versatile than Thorn. He's suffered a bunch of nerfs over the last few patches, but he's still a very strong pick. Even with the nerfs, he's still one of the most picked melee champions in tournament play. And as such, if you're looking for one new melee champion to learn, Thorn is a pretty safe bet. I know there's no tank category in Battlerite, but if there was, Thorn would certainly be in there. He offers a lot more to a team than just pure damage. His entangling roots are great for both peeling and for setting up combos. His Husk can save both himself and his allies from potentially fatal damage, and his self-healing can help take the pressure off the support. And as a support main, Thorn is always a pleasure to play with. If you really don't like Thorn but you're looking for a similarly safe bet, then you should take a look at Bako. He also offers a lot to his team, but with a slightly different flavour. But what if you're more into the aggressive style of play? Well, the most popular and versatile aggressive melee right now is Shifu. And when you look at Shifu's kit, it becomes pretty obvious why he's such a good pick. He has more gap closers than almost anyone else in the game. Even Xander can't escape Shifu. He's a relatively easy champion to pick up, but his skill cap is sky high. He has arguably 4 iframes at his disposal, 2 javelins, his counter, and his space ability. Granted, none of them are the most reliable iframes in the game, but if you get good enough, you can avoid a lot of damage. He also has a lot of self-healing thanks to his EX space, counter, and ceremonial spear battle rate. And even when you run out of ways to dodge abilities, you have your AoE in cap. Just CC people and wait for your cooldowns to come back. When Shifu is played right, he's virtually impossible to punish. If you luck out and you get matched with a great Lucy as well, he becomes even harder to deal with. Those short periods of time where you have nothing to work with, a well-timed barrier will keep you in the fight. Oh, and with the right abilities, he deals 34 damage with a charged right click. Shifu is a great one to learn. Be warned though, he is one of the toughest champions to master. Let's move on to ranged champions. Again, we're looking for champions who can work with a variety of comps, and bonus points for being self-reliant. So for that reason, let's start with Jade. First off, Jade is the only free-to-play champion in the game. Everyone has access to her. So for that reason alone, it's worth learning to play Jade. She's also one of the few ranged champions who is practically immune to melee champions bullying her. She can actually outtrade some melee champions in melee range. She has a space ability that stuns nearby enemies, a pushback on her R, a root on her EX snipe, a spell block, and stealth. That's a lot of stuff to deal with a lot of different things. On top of that, her EX stealth is actually what allows her to outtrade most champions in the game. For that reason, you want to spam this ability. If you can, use it while standing next to your support because it's an AoE shield. And if that wasn't enough, she's also one of the best champions for controlling the orb. Be aware of reflect, walls, and bubbles, but one snipe and a couple of mouse one-shots will take out the orb in no time at all. Honestly, she's a no-brainer if you're looking for a new ranged champion to learn. But if you already play Jade or you really don't want to play her, take a look at Ashka. Ashka is the epitome of ranged aggression. He has virtually no self-healing, so he is somewhat reliant on a competent support or careful play. But what he lacks in self-healing, he makes up for with superior firepower. His fireballs hit hard and they hit fast. His Flame Strike stun is very powerful, and his right click is easy to underestimate, but it's also one of the hardest hitting abilities in the game. You can actually hit for 72 direct damage, plus 14 damage from Ignite. Granted, you probably wouldn't take the Battlerites to do that, but even with the more commonly picked Battlerites, you still do 64 direct damage plus Ignite. Everyone who's been playing the game for more than a couple of seconds knows to dodge a snipe. It's really loud and it's got an instantly recognizable sound. But a sneaky little Ashka casting Firestorm on the flank is a lot easier to miss until you're already at critical health. On top of that, he has 2 iframes in his basic kit, and his ultimate is also an iframe. Plus, his R ability, Firewall, fully blocks all projectiles. So what he lacks in self-healing, he makes up for in damage output and damage avoidance. He's actually not bad at orb denial too. His Firewall can block enemy projectiles, while his Q-stun combo can make quick work of the orb. And now finally, let's take a look at support champions. If you're a DPS main, this is the first category you should look to expand into. Have you ever had a triple DPS comp that just felt unwinnable? Well, starting in Season 1, that never has to be the case again. If you can learn even just one support, you'll never have to play triple DPS again if you don't want to. So, with that in mind, let's start with Blossom. The support roster is in a pretty good state right now. Pretty much all of them are viable right now. Some of the champions who are weaker in 3v3s are downright overpowered in 2s. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Pearl. So you can't really go too far wrong when it comes to picking a support champion. Blossom is a good pick because she's actually quite strong in 2s and 3s. So she's a good choice no matter what your preference is. On top of that, she's one of the easiest supports to pick up. Most supports have cooldowns on their heals, so missing a heal can be quite punishing. Blossom has much shorter cooldowns on her heals, and she has a larger radius than, say, Lucy, so she's quite forgiving on the healing front. She also offers a good amount of utility that is quite easy to get the most out of. Her EX tree is one of the best parts of her kit, AoE damage prevention. It's both powerful and easy to get value out of. Trading with aggressive melee becomes a lot easier when you have complete immunity to damage for short periods of time. If that wasn't enough, she has her space ability that makes her invisible, a projectile reflect, a stun, and a weaken on her charged mouse 1 if you take the correct Battlerites. If you're a DPS player and you're looking for a quick and powerful support to learn, Blossom's your girl. But maybe Blossom is a little too safe for you. Maybe you feel like you need a support, but you still want to have an aggressive impact on the game. Well, for that, I would recommend one of 2 champions, Ulder and Sirius. If you normally play ranged, Ulder. If you normally play melee, go for Sirius. Neither of them are safe picks, but if you feel like you need a support, but you still want to make use out of your DPS skills, these 2 are great. A huge part of both of their utility is the burst damage they can output. Ulder definitely edges out most supports when it comes to burst, and while Sirius doesn't have the biggest burst, his damage comes out quickly, and particularly against lower rank players, a lot of people struggle to react in time. If you do opt for Ulder or Sirius, please don't forget you are playing a support. You need to heal. If you're just going to play like a damage dealer, you're better off just playing triple DPS. Their damage output is nowhere close to a real DPS. Both of them have strong burst, but they do heal. They both have an AoE Petrify, which is very strong. Plus, Ulder has his Reflect Bubble on his EXQ, which makes him great at both denying orbs and reflecting stuff back at people. I've focused a lot on DPS players learning support here, but if you're already a support main and you're looking to expand your champion pool, as well as the champions I've already mentioned, Lucy and Xander might be worth a look. Lucy is probably the most versatile support in the game. She offers pretty much everything that a team could ask for, but she trades that utility for a very high skill cap. She's tough to play, but when played right, she's one of the best supports out there. Xander has also been seeing a lot more play recently. He's very good at forcing iframes out of the enemy with his sheep and right click. Honestly, Pestilus is as good if not better at forcing outs. But what makes Xander a very attractive pick is his buffs, debuffs, and portal. He can reduce damage taken on allies, increase damage taken on enemies, and his portal can either get allies out of a bad situation or help them chase someone down. It's taken a while for everyone to really get the hang of him, but I think he's possibly the next meta healer. So obviously, if there's a particular champion that you want to learn, just learn that. But if you were debating which champion to learn next, All the champions I've mentioned are great choices. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please feel free to subscribe for more Battlerite guides, news, and discussion. If you'd like to help support the channel and get some unique rewards, then head over to patreon.com/battleritesage. And don't forget to check out twitch.tv/battleritesage. Until next time, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.